before we start is I want you to ask yourself, are you ready to be great? Are you ready to change your life? You know, I'm working with so many different groups right now. We have so many awesome, amazing clients that I keep taking them deeper and deeper. But I'll tell you what I told everybody this week. And I want you to hear me here. Most people connect their goals to attainment. Every goal that I've ever achieved, it was connected to changing my life. And I want you to connect it to changing your life. A lot of people are starting and stopping because they don't have a good connection with their goal. But if it really meant something, they'll do it. Now, I want to ask you this. Are you ready to be different? Are you ready to be more, do more, and have more? These aren't just words. This is ownership. This is like, from this point on, this is how I'm going to live. And I will take as many questions as you all have. But I will tell you this. No matter what I give you right now, I want you to decide today, wherever you are, maybe evening where you are, where I am, it's 2 in the afternoon. But I want you to decide, I'm done playing it small. I'm changing my life. And I had a client text me today, and he said, Arash, I'm going to see you at your event, but I'm ready. And this is what I responded to him. I said, no more half-ins. I said, you are a great man, and I want you to show your greatness. Because most people, and if you've been following my work, you know I say this a lot, most people are constantly holding back and protecting themselves from who they want to be. They never challenge their beliefs to see if they're accurate. None of you have a worthiness issue, but you keep telling yourself you do, so now it keeps coming up more and more. But at the core of you is perfection. But I want you to go after what you really want. But if you're going to achieve what you really want, you have to change your life. And are you ready to change your life? Are you ready to be different? Are you ready to inspire your family? Are you ready to inspire the people that is in your closest inner circle? See, this is so much bigger than you. This is so much bigger than me. The example is what we're setting forward. And I want you to work with a much bigger idea of yourself, and I want you to stop screwing around with your life. I want you to build discipline. I want you to get out of your comfort zone, because until you do these things, nothing's going to change, no matter what I tell you. Why do my clients get such great results? Because I give them exactly what to do and how to do it. They have a game plan. They get direction. Most people have no idea. And you may be one of them who just gathers the information. You have to have implementation. You have to be relentless about thinking abundantly. But the first person you have to think abundantly is towards yourself. And we have to be great to ourselves to create great results. All right, do we have any questions?
Yes. We are going to start with Carolina. How do you rebuild identity after a big failure or setback?
First of all, that has nothing to do with identity. You think it does because you tied the failure and setback that's you. The failure and setback was due to your strategy and was due to your behaviors. So that's not you. First of all, you're making a big error connecting your failure to labeling yourself. So now you crush your identity. So I don't want you to do that. What I want you to do is understand, in order to win, you have to fail. So that you failed, in your words, not mine, because I don't believe in failure. I think failure is the biggest illusion. Everything is an opportunity for us to get better. I want you to deconstruct what you did and where your opportunity to course correct it. But I want you to stop tying your identity to every result, because when you do great, your identity will go up, but when you do bad, it'll go that far down. That is not a healthy way to build identity, and you are not going to build great trust that way. So Carolina, I want you to think about what I started with if you were here from the beginning. Are you ready to change your life? Now I want you to build and live the standards that change of life demands. And I will tell you, the person who's most consistent always wins. But you've got to think differently. You've got to think in a certain way. And that certain way is you bulletproof everything in your favor. Now, I'm not giving you an out, because you may have done a lot of things inaccurately, or you could have done them with a lot of fear. So we have to eliminate those. But the only way we can eliminate it is by deconstructing what we did that caused the quote-unquote failure.
Oh, right. We have Rick. Rick's on here. He's asking, how do you manage hidden commitments you can't change right away?
Why can't you change them right away? Rick, I would like you to tell me why you can't change them right away. Have you ever sat back and evaluated that belief? That's not an accurate belief. You can change it right away by deciding who you're going to become. I'm no longer going to be that hidden commitment, and you change it right away. So what I want you to ask yourself is, what other beliefs are you telling yourself that are inaccurate? I say this on so many different forums, is we believe something to be true because we believed it from the past, but we've never reevaluated to see if it's true. See, when I have a hidden commitment, because we all have them, it's such a blessing because it frees me for my next level of achievement, for my next level of explosive growth. But I never tell myself, and I don't encourage you to tell yourself this, Rick, that I can't do it immediately. Everything we create is in the now. Right now, when I say your hidden commitment is done, it is done. And your future is going to accept that. So don't think you can't change it right away. If you are determined and say, I am done operating from that hidden commitment, you're going to be off to the races, my friend.
Okay, so he added, what if the hidden commitment is someone who creates resistance?
Well, that's called attitude now. That's your attitude towards that someone. Okay, so you could change your attitude and hold the image of the opposite picture for that person. And so that wouldn't be your hidden commitment, that would be their hidden commitment. So it's a very different frame. So I want you to make sure you understand that. So if somebody in my life had resistance, and let's say it was in my family, let's say it was my wife, I would hold the image because I may have a different understanding that she does. So I just hold the image and I don't force it.
Asking what is core processes you've built to gain emotional freedom in your everyday life?
The biggest one for emotional freedom was detachment. When I learned how important being neutral is, it freed me up so much. Attachment, nobody can be free. I don't care how much money you're earning if you're attached to something. I've watched the people with the most money be the most constricted. So money doesn't create freedom. Your emotion does. So I always tell every one of my clients, to create financial freedom, you have to create emotional freedom. So emotional freedom, where you completely release worry, doubt, and fear, and you're not attached to every result you're getting or a person's response. So let me give you an example. Let's say you're worried about what people think. You are definitely not emotionally free. So you've got to develop the attitude of neutral, and you have to already know the outcome and not be attached to the outcome, not let your emotional state sway based on the outcome. See, if we use Rick as an example of what he just shared, somebody in his life was giving resistance. So Rick wouldn't be able to be emotionally free if he was tying in and letting that resistance control his mind. Okay? So we want to understand we have to guard our mind, but we have to let go of force. Force is going to keep us away from the thing we actually want.
Okay, we have Nancy here. She's saying, thank you for this live event. Not sure where to start. Any advice on the first step I need to take? Thank you again.
Nancy, what I want you to do for me is I want you to write out, between now and the end of the year, how do you want to live? That's the first thing to do. You don't set the goal first, you decide how you're going to live. And I want you to decide with me right now, you and me together. There's nobody else listening to this. That you're going to change your life between now and the end of the year. Now, I want you to send me what you write. I want you to email it to hello@vosscoachingco.com. And I will make sure that my team with me puts a game plan for you of exactly what to do. That's where you start.
Oh, right. We have Linda. I have conversations in my head telling myself not to give in to the cravings. They don't go well sometimes. Should I speak out loud?
What cravings are we speaking of? Are these food cravings? Are these emotional cravings? I'd have to know more. So I'm not really sure what craving we're talking about, because that would tell us where we need to create a game plan for you. So maybe you can type back in and give me more information so I can answer that question better.
Okay. We have Laura. What is the best way to attract high-level people into your network if you feel like you're starting from scratch?
Well, number one, stop saying you're starting from scratch, or else you're going to keep attracting the beginners. And the best way to do it is get in mentorship groups. Because I have tons of masterminds in my groups. And I introduce people to masterminds, to like-minded people. But I don't want you to see yourself starting from scratch. I think that's a crutch we give ourselves to protect ourselves. I want you only to ask boldly for what you want. I only want to receive high-level individuals of where I'm going. But now, to attract them, you got to become one yourself. So I want you to look at your standards. I want you to look at your disciplines. I want you to look at the type of actions. And I want you to look at your language. That's what's going to attract them to you.
Okay, great. I'm going to re-ask Linda because she clarified her question. So the question was, I have conversations in my head telling myself not to give in to cravings. They don't go well sometimes. Should I speak out loud? It's mainly about junk food, salty food, sweet food.
Yeah. First off, Linda, you got to decide that you're going to get in the very best shape of your life. That's how the cravings have no chance. You've got to fully commit that instead of following a diet, you've got to decide this is what I'm doing instead of restricting yourself. Then you're going to naturally get the right eating nutrition plan. You're going to get the right exercise plan, and the cravings are going to fall away. But a lot of people are trying to change their health without deciding to change their life. And to really create the life you want in this area, you have to change your life. So start there and you watch the cravings will go away.
What is your strategy? This is from Isabel. What's your strategy for staying in touch with busy, successful people without being a burden?
First of all, I don't care. That's my strategy. I don't think I'm a burden to anybody. Successful people will never feel you're a burden as long as you're not coming from a needy energy. The neediness is what repels successful people or any person from you. So I don't have that. I don't have a strategy because it's just not, it goes in my mind. Why would you ever think you're a burden? People who are truly successful want to help people with desire. And if you have authentic desire and come off, it's going to change the game for you. Like I gave one of my clients an opportunity yesterday. And his name's Hector, and I said, Hector, I want you to think of somebody you admire. And I go, do you have him in your industry? He said, yes. I said, I want you to call him as soon as you get off the session we had together. Well, he sent me a message back that not only did he call him, that gentleman spent 20 minutes with him and gave him so many ideas in his industry. See, we've got to ask for more. A lot of people think that successful people are too busy, or like you said, a burden. No, they think the opposite, but you don't ever want to come from neediness. Neediness repels.
Okay, Sam is saying, what's one simple daily practice to anchor a new identity?
Oh, you got to have a great morning routine. That will change the game. That'll change your self-esteem. It'll change your discipline. But I want you, Sam, for the next 30 days, follow my morning routine. It's on my YouTube channel. It's on our website. at vosscoachingco.com. But I want you to start waking up at 5 a.m. I want you to wake up at 5 because I want to get you out of your comfort zone. And I want you to do it religiously for the next 30 days, but every day you're going to do it 1% better. That will change your identity like this.
Okay, Patricia's asking, do you believe identity shifts can change generational patterns in a family?
No question. No question. 100%. It's done it in my family, so I've seen it. So 1,000% it will change, because if you have kids, they're watching your example. You're creating an environment of calmness. You're creating an environment of growth. That's going to change their identity. And guess what? When they have kids, that's going to change their identity. So 100%.
So this is from Omar. Arash, I watched your podcast this week and it talked about your network. What are some ways I can stand out in a crowded room where I'm around a bunch of high-level people?
Ask them a lot of questions. Come from service, not getting. And when you go in, I want you to see yourself, Omar, as the best in the world. When you go in a room, I want your vibration to impact that room when you haven't even said a word. You stand up tall. You're confident. But you've got to start seeing yourself as the best in the world. That's what I want you to do, but always come from contribution, not from getting. Most people go into networking events and they're constantly trying to get. That's where they make a mistake. Always come from giving. If you ever were a fly on my shoulder while I'm in an event, I never talk about myself. I'm always asking about them. What do you want? Tell me about your business. I'm always asking. And then they'll come in return and ask me, and we collaborate. And that's the best way to build your network, but you're going to raise your net worth by doing that.
This is Felix. Arash, how do identity and network work together to accelerate quantum leaps?
I mean, identity is everything. Identity works with everything. Well, why do you think your network is not as strong as you want it? Identity. So as you feel more comfortable with yourself and more confident with yourself, you're going to start networking with much higher level individuals who are going in the same direction you're going or are much further than you. So let me give you guys a little thought first, okay? Everybody thinks they know identity because they've studied it. That doesn't mean you know it. I want you to just observe Monday through Friday this week. How often were you out of your comfort zone? How intentional were you? Did you think, feel, and act from your future self? Well, if you didn't, you don't understand identity. So it's like what my mentor told me years ago. He said, Arash, you don't know this, you know about it. And some of these questions, I want to make sure you understand it fully so you can go implement it. With knowing about it, that doesn't mean implementation. So we can't say, I know identity and still act small. Do you see the difference? It's a double binding message. So you have to decide that I'm going to think like my future, I'm going to have the best emotional state, and I'm going to step out and act. Identity is the foundation of all of our programming. If you look at your income identity, you look at your relationships identity, you look at your patterns identity, you look at how you study yourself identity, you look whether you're willing to get mentored or not, identity. The people who are not willing to get mentored, they don't believe in themselves enough to go step out and have somebody challenge them. You know, we have to have people in our life that are stretching us. And so I want you all to understand it's not good enough to know about it. You have to live it. And the most important thing with identity that drives our identity is our standard. You have to live the standard that your life demands. You have to live the standard your goal demands. Our standard tells us what we're going to have because it tells us what we tolerate. But standard drives our identity, and our identity drives our results.
All right. James wants to know, when you feel stuck, how do you stop the negative self-talk that keeps you trapped?
Well, what we got to understand, the reason you're stuck is because you're letting the outside start driving your thinking. So the negative self-talk, do you want to stay stuck, James? Is a question I have for you. And I'm sure the answer is no. Then you got to get in control of your mind. our greatest responsibility is how we think. We don't just automatically get stuck. For weeks, we've been accepting negative ideas. And then what happens is the result will reflect that, and then we say we're stuck. So you're not stuck right now. You're stuck based on the choices you made in the past. So you have to upgrade your standard of thinking. You've got to decide, like, I am not letting anyone think for me but me, and I'm going to think relentlessly, abundantly. And when you do that, I promise you, you're not going to be stuck. Now, have I been stuck before? Of course I have. But why I was stuck was because I wasn't thinking. I was not thinking. You have to master thinking, and you have to learn how to think in a certain way. When you do that, even when a negative or an adverse situation happens, you'll never be stuck. You'll see the good in it, and you'll raise your attitude, your persistence, and your discipline, and you'll never stay stuck. So you want to make sure stuck is not happening right now. Like, our problem is not right now. It was created in the past. But you can't operate with the same thinking that created the problem to create a better solution. You've got to change the way you think. And I want you to burn this in your mind. There's two things you got to burn in your mind. It is our greatest responsibility in life is how we think if we want a better life. And number two, you have to reprogram your mind every single day. Every single day. Every single day. But you have never reprogrammed your mind, or I have never reprogrammed my mind if I don't step out and act on my thinking. Thinking is the prequel to actions. So I want you to start thinking explosively. I want you to think with swagger. I want you to think from the end. I want you to think that from wholeness, not scarcity. Now that is how you're going to change your life.
Great. So we have Paula. How do you stop procrastination when it feels like that's all you can think about and you have no motivation?
Well, you have no motivation because you don't have a goal. You procrastinate because you've never committed. And so procrastination is not an option. Procrastination is death of opportunities. But you're not just killing this opportunity, you're killing the next one, the next one, the next one. So if you don't have motivation, you don't have a why. So you've got to write out exactly what you want to create, and you got to live your life with juice. But if you don't have a big enough goal, nothing's going to change. Our goals are so important. Goals are so good for our soul. So I will tell you, you do not have a goal right now. You have to get a goal, and you have to really ask yourself, why does this goal drive me? What would my life look like when I achieve this goal? How would I see myself after I achieve this goal? How would the people in close environment, my family, be impacted by me doing this? But I will tell you, the people who don't have juice, they don't have goals. You don't lack motivation, you lack clarity. And I want you to understand, you are the best bet in the world. There's not a better bet than you. But you've got to believe that. It doesn't matter what I tell you. I know that because I've been doing this forever. But I will tell you, I want you to bet on yourself right now. And I want you, don't wait a second. I want you to get out a piece of paper right now. And I want you to write, how do you want to live by the end of the year? Now that is going to give you some juice. Now I want you to see yourself properly. See yourself how God sees you. God doesn't see you limited. I don't want you to see yourself limited. And if you don't believe in God, that's your choice. See yourself how your dog or cat looks at you. They don't see you as something's wrong. So why people procrastinate is because they never have went all in and made a decision that they're going to change their life. That's what you have to do.
Okay, great. Hold on. Bruce had a question. Okay, Bruce Barton. He wants to know, what do you think my challenge is of my identity gap?
Bruce, you have so much potential. I know you so well. But I want you from this moment to come from a place that it would be impossible for you to fail. And I want you to pick how you really want to live by the end of the year. Your biggest identity gap is you gather the information, but you don't implement it because you are not picking anything. I want you to pick one thing that you want more than anything else in the world. And then I will deconstruct for you exactly what to do and how to do it. But I can't pick the want for you. You've got to pick it for you. See, you have so much potential and you have so much courage. I've worked with you and I know you, but you've got to decide on who am I going to be and who am I not going to be. And I want you to decide that now.
Olivia wants to know, how do you set goals when you're not even clear on what you want?
Well, you got to write out, how do you want to live? I mean, I can't do this without knowing what do I want. Like, think about, how do you really want to live? And if you want to do it, just look at how you don't want to live. And then the opposite of that is how you want to live. And then in that, you're going to find the goal. So I don't like when people say this, because it's not true. They're not thinking. I want you to think. Stop thinking based on the past. The past has nothing to do with our future. I want you to think, if it was impossible for me to fail, something that I was willing to commit to, because if we're not willing to commit to it, we're not going to do it. How do you really want to live? And then in that is going to be what you want.
Okay, Melissa wants to ask you, how do you share your goals with others without feeling judged?
You just can't worry about what other people think, or don't share it with those people. Like, I wouldn't share your goals unless you have a significant identity now with dream stealers. So the only person that needs to believe in your goal is you. But just in the framework of your question, you're worried about what they're thinking of you. So you have to let go of that. You can never create big ideas and big achievements worrying about what other people think. And the truth is, they're not thinking about you, they're thinking about them. And here's where the error is, what people do. They'll tell other people in their close family what their goals are, and then they deplete them, and they try to talk them out of it, or judge them, like you say, because why? They feel bad about them because they're not dreaming. You've got a dream, but I don't want you to tell anybody who's not going to support you, because they're going to steal your dream, and I don't want that.
Okay, Elena's asking, how do you find accountability partners?
Well, you got to get in, you have to start getting to live events. Get to my live event in Dallas in November, Transform. I will pick an accountability partner for you. No one's going to be an accountability partner if they don't know you. So you got to be in these rooms. When you're in these rooms, magic happens. And if you're not willing to be in the room, then that's your choice. But you can't afford, it's not whether you can afford to be in it, it's can you afford not to. See, we got to understand, life goes by so fast. And the fallacy is we have all this time. We don't have all this time. Like, think about it. 2025, we're almost done with 2025. It went like this. Well, that's going to happen next year and the year after and the year after. But you've got to put yourself in situations that are going to bulletproof your success, and that's what I would encourage.
Okay, great. How do you know when this is from Nina, how do you know when your self-image has finally shifted?
Your thinking has changed. The type of actions you're taking has changed. The type of ideas you're willing to attack have changed. So it's very obvious when an identity shift happens. You're going to be so much more comfortable with yourself. You're going to release worry, doubt, and fear. Your energy will tell you. If you want to know if you're in the process of a quantum leap right now, follow your energy. Your energy always tells you before you see the tangible result.
Okay, great. Okay, so talking about self-image, Anthony wants to know, what's the most powerful self-image exercise you recommend?
Getting out of your comfort zone. Nothing better. Nothing is going to change your identity faster than behaving your way into a new identity before you're ready. It is so much faster. It's literally instantaneous. And it takes so much time to think your way into new identity. So that is the biggest cheat code. And make every decision from your future self. That's how you're going to change your identity. But that's how you collapse time as well.
Okay. So Perla is asking, Arash, my husband and I have financial goals together. What is your insight on that, or should we have separate goals? Can you please give me insight?
Well, you should have separate goals. You're two different people. Now, you should have a family goal together, but career-wise, unless you guys are in the same business together, but still you need separate goals. So you should have family goals, you should have parenting goals together, but then you should have your own separate goals.
Okay, great. All right. Arash, is there any like advice that you would give anybody else as far as goals? Anything else that you would say? I know that there's a lot of like, of figuring out what you want. What's another main thing that you would give?
Well, the process of a goal is you first have to decide you're going to change your life. I can't be more clear about that. Until you decide you're going to be different, you're going to think different, you're going to act different, and you're going to bet on yourself, picking a goal is not going to matter. But let's assume somebody decided that. Soon as they pick a goal, let's say somebody has a goal right now that they want to double their monthly income between now and the end of the year. Now you look at the goal, now you pick what are the 3 standards that goal demands. So let me give you an example of a few. Number 1, it could be selling every day. Number 2, it could be acting on ideas right away, doing it now. And number 3, it could be making 5 appointments a day. Those would be 3 standards. That would be an example. Then, after you pick those, you live those standards every day. You bring those, you have them written down. They are following you everywhere you go to make sure you live those standards. Then you pick the disciplines. What are the discipline my goal demands? It demands me to have a morning routine. Done. It demands me to be kind to myself. Done. It demands me to practice my sales presentation. Done. Then you focus on 3 action steps every day for the next 90 days. Those are going to be your wins. But you take the action steps with confidence. You take them with the confidence of your future self. 5 days a week, you're going to create 194.5 wins. You're going to create a massive quantum leap. Most people set a goal, but they don't give it any life. Your goal has to have life. So until you commit to changing your life, you're not activating the goal. And then we've got to plant that goal in our subconscious mind through auto-suggestion, through visualization. So you have mindset work. But without doing this, it becomes a wish or a hope. See, most people don't understand this and they get lost in this philosophy because they don't have the proper direction. I want everybody. I'm talking to every single person watching this. Now, I don't know if you're watching it live or if you're going to watch it on recording. I want you to text me at 325-330-8677. If you're serious about finishing this year on fire, finishing this year so you're creating so much momentum in the next year and you're really ready to change, you text me. My team and I will put a game plan together for you. But you've got to be willing to do it. Most people are not coachable. They're coachable to their comfort zone. The people who win in life surrender like they've never surrendered before to the coach's process. And if you are one of them, text me at the number I gave, 325-330-8677, and I will blow you away with how much you can do in such a short time. But you have to have the right plan. If we don't have the right direction, you're going to constantly be all over the place. I got to get you focused. Your greatest distraction is 2 things. You don't have the proper direction, you don't have the proper understanding, and you don't have the proper game plan. That's what it is. But outside of all of that, our greatest distraction outside of that, which is much bigger, is we're always operating from our old self. You've got to kill your old self off. Your old self does not serve you anymore. We've got to create a new self. And that new self is going to be, you're going to love that person. But here's the thing. You're going to have the money. You're going to have the relationship. You're going to have the accountability partners you've been asking for. You're going to have the networking. But who you're going to be is going to be much more important than all of that. And that's why I encourage you to text me if that's what you want for you.
Okay. We have a couple more minutes. So we have Valdemir. Valdemir is saying, how can I keep my new standards and stay true to my goals? I work in public service, and when problems come up, I just fix them and I forget about my standards.
Because they're not a standard. So you may have picked a standard. A standard is non-negotiable. It's a line in the sand that you draw, and you're living that standard all day long. So you haven't committed to the standard. And if you don't live the standard, you're not going to get it. You're not going to get what you want. So I want you to keep these 3 standards. I want it first thing in the morning. I'm living this standard. I want you to put an alarm on your phone at noon. Did I live these standards the first half of the day? And then at the end of the day, I want another alarm. Did I live these standards the second half of the day? You got to have it in front of you so you remind yourself, because there's so many distractions and you're being distracted, but it's impossible to live our standards if we're not relentlessly pursuing it.
Okay. This is Vladimir's last question. I want to stay focused on my new self-image despite daily challenges. How can I be stronger and more consistent so that everyday tasks don't throw me off?
I want you to decide you're going to change your life more than I am interested in you changing your image. You notice these questions, nobody is asking, how do I change my life? You can't change your image without deciding to change your life. I want you to decide first you're going to change your life, and your image is going to change so fast. But I want you to decide, Vladimir, who are you going to be? Who are you not going to be? And if you change your life, what it would mean to you. That's what I want you to do. Your image is going to follow. Your image is going to follow. But you have to have a firm commitment. I have to have a firm commitment. In order to achieve what's possible, I have to first decide that I'm going to commit, and there's no better commitment than changing your life. See, if I say changing your life right now, what does that mean to you? Like, what goes through your mind? See, a lot of people don't think, they're thinking about attainment, not about fulfillment. And the attainment always comes when you're fulfilled, and that's where the identity really transfers, when we decide we're going to be a different version of ourselves.
All right. Okay. Well, any final thoughts?
Yeah, here's my final thought. You guys have so much potential inside of you. And I know it doesn't mean anything because standards are more than potential, but I want you to start understanding who you are. I want you to bet on yourself like you've never bet on yourself before. Do you know you could change your life today? Today, by deciding who you're going to be and who you're done being, you're going to change your life. I always look at myself, and I remember where I was. Gosh, I was such a mess. I mean, I say this like because I know it. And if I can do it, you can do it. But the one thing I had was I had awareness that I knew that I didn't know. I had been working on this for 3 years, and that's why I went out and made sure I got the right help. That's what you guys got to do. If you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting what you're getting. But I want you to understand, and I'm not telling this to you to make you feel good. I'm telling you the truth. There is another version of you that is dying to come out, but we've got to let that person out. We've got to start choosing in at the all-in level, and we got to decide we're going to create the best life we've ever had. That's what I want for you. I wish you guys could see my clients, and I wish you could see them from where they are to where they are now. They're so different. I did this event last week, World Class Wealth, and I was speaking, and I stopped myself, and I was talking to one of my clients, Joe Kinkard, and I said, Joe, God, you look so different. Like, you see it in their face. Like, he looked like a different man. But when I first met him, it was very different. I got these same questions from my elite clients in the beginning, so I'm not judging your questions whatsoever. But I'm telling you that when you go all in on yourself, magic starts happening in your life. And think about it. When was the last time you went all in? A lot of people say they want more, but they don't do anything with actions. Your actions will tell you how badly you really want it. I want you to lock in on your focus between now and the end of the year. I want you to text me. I will help you. I mean, I love helping people. Like, when my life changed, I committed to doing this the rest of my life. And I want you to be my next success story. But in order for you to be my next success story, you've got to believe that you could do it. But even if you don't believe it right now, believe in my belief you could do it. I can give you so many stories of people who were stuck like you wouldn't believe, who had identity issues like you wouldn't believe. But I want all of you to commit to yourself, not to me, this is for you, that you're going to change your life and watch what starts following.